Today we're embarking on our longest road trip yet, an 1,100-mile round trip all the way down to Winston-Salem, North Carolina in the 2024 BMW 750e. This is the brand new plug-in hybrid 7 Series. Up front, we have the, at this point, I don't feel bad calling it legendary, B58 3-liter twin power turbo inline 6. And of course, with it being a plug-in hybrid, it has an electric motor as well. Combined power output, 483 horsepower and 479 pound-feet of torque. I have an Emily following me around the car, if you couldn't hear her crunching on the leaves. And well, we're gonna evaluate what this thing is like to spend, well, just about 2 full days in. We're going down to North Carolina for a wedding, so we're gonna spend all day today driving. We'll spend Saturday doing wedding things, and then Sunday we're gonna come back to Michigan and do it all over again. And I think that the 7 Series is just about the perfect road trip vehicle. And I've been wanting to road trip one of these for a while, because in my mind, this will just do everything about perfectly. So this is finished in frozen pure gray. It has just about every option you can get on the 750e. This thing starts around $107,000. Ours as spec'd is $135 grand. So we have all of the little bits and bobs packages and little add-ons. We've got Bowers & Wilkins, we've got the Swarovski crystal headlights. But anyways, let's talk some basics about the hybrid portion of this car. Here's your charge port right here. Level 2 charges up from 0 in about 10 hours if you are to just plug it in at home. So it's one of those cars you can plug in overnight, come out, do your morning commute, and have your full charge. 36 miles is the electric range you get on this, and we have most of that saved up for today's trip because I'm curious to see the range with this car and how far we can make it on a full tank of fuel and a full charge. I think I've got like 30 miles of charge in this thing, so it'll be a pretty accurate reading. Let's take a look at some road trip basics. With this being the flagship BMW sedan, we of course have a massive trunk and no sort of wine coolers or anything back here, so we are able to utilize all of the space. Though a lot of the space is being utilized for clothes that are laid out in such a way that they won't get wrinkled. So dress, suit coat, all of the stuff. But my suitcase is sort of tucked up against the back seat. We've got a couple of backpacks here as well, and we are not even beginning to touch the capacity of this trunk. So just kind of as you would expect back here. And we have a little goop kit and tire inflator over on the left-hand side there. Power trunk, of course. And I believe behind my seat is full of things, isn't it? So we need to look at the back seat on this side. This car has the optional package with the power doors, which, I mean, we've lived with a number of these now with the power doors, and I thought they were really cool on the first one. But at this point, I'm just kind of over them. I think that they're just more of a gimmick than anything, and they're kind of like a learning curve. You have to like learn how to hit the button right, and you have to hit it and then stand back, and it's this whole process that I don't know should go into opening a door. You should just be able to open the door. So you want to demonstrate backseat space behind yourself? Are you cozy? You might actually, you might spend some time back there today. We have a full Amarone leather interior in this car, which is basically just maroon, kind of like a dark red color. And we have carbon fiber trim, which you'll see once we get up front. Bowers & Wilkins sound system, as I mentioned. And well, we've got so many videos on the 7 Series that I don't think we need to give you a full tour of the back seat, but I will jump in just for a second so you guys can see my legroom at 5'11" behind what is identical to my driving position there. So tons of room back here. You've got places to mount things. If you are taking a super long trip, you want to mount an iPad, you've got a mount and a place to plug it in. We have the Sky Lounge roof in this car, which has its own ambient lighting. A couple more Bowers & Wilkins speakers back here. Alcantara headliner, which is part of the individual composition in this thing. So a ton going on, and as you guys know, I'm the 7 Series guy, so I could spend an hour just walking around this thing. But unfortunately, with this being an 1,100-mile round trip, it's probably already going to be the longest video on the entire channel. Anyways, so let's jump in and let's get on the road. Actually, quickly, I'm going to show you under the hood, and then we're going to get on the road. And you pull that twice, of course, because this is an BMW. There it is, B58. Slightly detuned actually in this car. The B58 itself makes just over 300 horsepower, and the electric motor makes up for the other 180 some odd ponies there. So there it is, fits in there nicely. I just think that this car is a great solution if you don't want to go full i7, but you still want a little bit of that electric range. You're able to do that here with the 750e. Glass controls in this car, meaning we have some more extended crystals here.
Fun noises.
I know, yeah, these new BMWs, especially the 7 Series and some of their flagship cars, they all make fun noises. We've got wireless Apple CarPlay, of course, iDrive 8.5 in this car, and well, the TheTopher spent the beginning of the week in this car, and he didn't really drive it much because he was very frustrated that everything is in a menu. And, well, I do kind of understand that. I think that this is one of those cars that you are, in a way, kind of able to set and forget as far as your climate control, your driving settings, and things like that. But it is very frustrating when you get in and you do have to set everything because there's really not a ton going on in this interior. It's very minimalist, and everything is indeed in a bleeping menu. So even down to your seat adjustments here, if you want to adjust your seat back, your headrest, anything of the sorts, you have to go into the infotainment to do it because BMW just gives you two big crystal blocks here on the door panel to adjust your seat back and forward and back motion. So quick adjustments are still physical here. Okay. Also, the car thinks I'm called Chad. Have you noticed that?
No, that was just the first
Yeah.
time. Yeah.
So we'll touch on that a little bit. You know, you'll see it here and there, but whoever had this before me, it must have been called Chad, or whoever set it up was Chad. Maybe we'll call the car Chad.
The car could be
The
Chad.
car could be Chad.
Yes,
Right.
I like Chad.
Okay, so let's get on the road. First order of business today is going to be putting some petrol in the car because I really want to see what our range is like in this thing. So let's use our crystal. Show you these backup cameras. We have a 360 cam, super high quality. I mean, it looks like we're in a video game. This car also has the optional rear wheel steering. So we have a great turning circle in this 750e. Super light steering feel and precise. BMW, Mercedes, all of the German companies always get this kind of luxury car steering right. And that is a big part of what makes these cars so nice to drive because they are just effortless. So this electric motor does run through our ZF 8-speed automatic. So even when you're rolling in electric mode, you do still feel those shifts. And after spending a couple of days in this car, driving it around town, I have kind of noticed that it's not as smooth as some of the other 7 Series is. The 760i, the i7. You know, the S68 powertrain is pretty smoothed out at this point. I think this B58 plug-in hybrid, they may still be working out some kinks. I mean, have you noticed any jerkiness or anything? No. So to someone who hasn't driven a million of these cars, I don't think you're going to really notice anything. What do you think under first impressions? Are you happy?
I love this seat, and I cannot wait to sleep in it.
Okay, fair enough. It says, talk to me. Talk to me, please.
I'm so lonely.
I know, this car is very needy. That is one thing about it. It's just, you're always having to touch it or talk to it. Make sure it's all right. Yeah. It's a little bit like you, I was going to say. You know why the fuel filler is on the passenger side on German cars?
I know.
So if you're pulled over on the Autobahn, you can put petrol in the car without getting run over by somebody in a Golf GTI going 140.
That makes sense.
Right. All right, so we're gonna top this thing up right here.
Oh, Jesus.
Quick steering, very quick steering. Very maneuverable for a big boat, this thing is. This was like the normal size for cars back in the 60s and 70s. Everybody drove a car that was this size, a boat. Another thing I don't like about this car, okay? I have not touched the start-stop button, but when I exit, it shuts the car off and says, goodbye, Chad.
Oh.
So I don't know if there's a way to turn that off. I've gone through all the menus, and I cannot work out how to turn off the feature of when you open the door, the car shuts off.
I'll look into that.
You want to look at, you'll have about 9 hours to do so.
Yeah.
So, okay. I'm going to put some 93 in the car. See if that popped it. It did not pop it. Oh, it did. Okay, we're good. The one nice thing about the power doors, and my favorite part, is when you get in, you just put your foot on the brake and it shuts. Did you find how to make it not shut off?
Yeah, okay, so it can't. That's the thing.
Ah, right.
Is turn off after opening door is currently off, but this is only for the infotainment and displays.
That's right.
The engine does not.
That's right.
Unfortunately, turn
Yeah.
off.
So no way to defeat that. Okay, got it. Oh, thank you. Okay, let's reset the trip, which I think you do like this. Yes. Okay, and we'll see. We've got on the readout 511 miles of petrol range and 31 miles of electric range, which means we have 542 miles.
Wow.
And it's 555 miles to get
You
down there.
would, like-
I think I can hypermile it and do it. All right, let's go.
Boop, boop.
So we're gonna let this do its thing. I'm actually gonna make sure that I'm gonna activate electric. Okay, so this is gonna use up our electric range here. So the car is currently gonna run in electric mode until it depletes this 31 miles of range, and then it'll switch over to ICE, but as we kind of go up and down some hills, it'll return some charge to this battery, and we may make up some miles there as well. So I think that we'll be in good shape to get some good range here on the trip. Additionally, we do have drive modes. We have an efficient drive mode, which we'll probably go into once we get onto the highway. But we also have expressive mode, which gives you Hans Zimmer noises and massages
Oh,
you. Yeah.
Immediately.
I love
started getting
expressive
massaged.
mode. All right, you ready?
Yes. I love that. And the massage that I'm getting is quite lovely.
Hans Zimmer and the B58 performing a duet. Yes. This is good massage too in this car. It's not just the psh, psh, lumbar stupid
Yeah.
thing. It's actual little like a Brookstone massage chair, massage balls. Open entrance ramp.
Oh my word.
Even though this is a big, yeah, good call. I know how that
Last
went.
time.
You know how that went last time. Oh my goodness.
Rear wheel
Oh my God.
steering. Wow. This entrance ramp is usually treacherous.
I know. Silence. I mean, this is obviously a big cross-country cruiser boat, but it will handle. At the end of the day, it's still a BMW, and the chassis on this thing is crazy. You don't have a ton of feel, obviously, through the steering rack, but it's just nuts. I mean, it took that entrance ramp at like 50. Yeah, that's good.
And it didn't feel like.
I know. It's a little bit of body roll, of course, with this four-corner air suspension on this car, but you know, it's very floaty at highway speeds. So this car has allegedly has assisted driving pro, or driver assistance pro, whatever BMW calls it. So I have assisted driving, which means the car will steer for me up to a certain point, and it will yell at me to take back over. We do have this neat feature here for when you are in traffic, which is this adaptive braking. So when you accelerate and then you let off gas, you can see that the car will adapt to the car in front of you. So it's reading this Bronco in front of me, sensing its speed, and then when I let off the gas, it's matching the speed with the adaptive braking. I think we'll do this one in silence.
Okay.
This person doesn't know how to merge.
Clearly.
There they go. Good job. And lean. Oh yeah. Oh, and we've already caught the Nissan Rogue. Okay. With that 180 horsepower from the electric motor, we've got plenty of power to merge. Don't think that you have to get into that inline six power to get yourself up to speed. I mean, this is a 5,600 pound car, so it's almost 3 tons. But that 180 horsepower, it'll still get it up to speed just fast enough to where you're not getting rear-ended by traffic that's already traveling. All right. We are still in electric mode. This is just, I think, serenity.
Yeah.
Is that would you say that? You just don't feel anything in this car. Okay, well the intro to this video has already been much longer than I anticipated, so we're gonna eat up some miles here in this 750e, and we will get back with you on what that's been like. We have actually gained some range since the last time I spoke with you. 492 miles showing here on the left, and we've done just under 100. So at this rate, we should be able to do about 600 miles on 1 unit of fuel and charge and everything. Also, I forgot that 4 hours of this 8-hour drive is through Ohio, which means it just kind of looks like this. 55-mile-an-hour roads.
It's quite boring.
She's crocheting. I just skipped a song again.
No, it's Taylor Swift.
I know, sorry. Okay. The cool thing about this is that when you are in driving situations like that, whether it be you're braking for somebody or you're going down a hill or whatever, the car is regenerating and using that energy to give you more of a charge. So we actually have a mile of electric range just from doing sort of things like that. So no energy is wasted here. One thing that is a bit irritating though, especially if you're doing kind of mixed highway driving like this, if you're on a big 70-mile-an-hour highway and then you switch to a bit of a back road highway like this and you want to change your following distance, you have to go into a menu to do so. You have to go one click here down on the little control pad, then you have to go into driver assistance, then you have to go into driving, then you have to go into distance control, and then you can change it. And the worst part about this is there's a blank space on the steering wheel that they could use for such an adjustment, but alas, they don't.
Would you like to make a pit stop in Ohio, in this small town, to see what it has?
No, unless there's a really good antique store. There is a Dollar General. That's required, though, for towns like this.
For towns like this, absolutely. Special towns get too.
This is looking strangely familiar to where we got those S2000 seats in the Volvo.
It is, isn't it?
How are you feeling in the seat?
So comfortable.
Yeah, the seat's good.
I know that people have been concerned about the way that I sit in seats, but
no,
I trust my driver.
I think I would like to have a massage.
Okay.
Lots of different controls here for your massage, intensity, speed, and you can choose what sort of massage you want. This is now giving me a back massage downwards.
Oh,
that's probably okay.
Yeah.
And, or you can have it surprise you. Look.
Oh, surprise.
Yeah, surprise massage.
I'm getting kind of hungry.
I was just going to say I'm starving.
I'm quite hungry.
Would you like to access the back seat snack accommodations?
Yes.
Oh, geez. You do.
What would you like? We've got chips. We've got beef jerky.
Ooh, beef jerky, please. Oh, let go.
You're welcome. It's good.
I also want to mention that even in non-plug-in hybrid form, we know this B58 to be an incredibly efficient powertrain. I mean, back in my days of doing fuel economy tests for Daily Motor, we were seeing out of M340i's, Z4s, whatever, anything with this B58, close to 40 miles per gallon. So when you add this little plug-in aspect to it, granted this is a big 3-ton Luxo barge, I mean, I suspect we'll still be seeing in the 30s for our combined trip after 500 or so miles here. Would you like to know the top speed of the... Well, I'm not going to do it. I was just going to tell you. 100, it's electronically limited to 127 miles an hour.
Really?
Yeah.
That's it? Wow. I feel like this thing could pull faster than that.
I'm sure it could if you got it tuned and took the limiter off.
Yeah.
Okay, well, I'm bored in Ohio, so I'm going to keep eating beef jerky, and which I can do myself, actually, because the car will steer.
Yeah, there you go.
Oh, hold on. Railroad tracks test. Ooh, we're actually going to hit these at a pretty good rate. Let's see how cozy it is.
Oh, that was so nice.
You can't even notice it.
For impact.
The ride in this thing is fantastic, even with these 21-inch, I think they're Style 908M wheels. The ride is fantastic. Another Dollar General. Within the 3 miles of this small town.
Yes.
Trying this place called Sheets. Apparently is kind of like a scaled down Buc-ee's of Ohio.
I've
We're gonna find out. Quick range check. We've done 206 miles, and the car thinks we still have 463 miles left, which means we're coming up on nearly 700 miles of range in this car. The 7 Series is treating us nicely. I don't really have anything bad to say about the car. That is a frozen blue i4 M50.
Oh, very nice.
Frozen Portimao blue, I think, perhaps. Okay, let's check out Sheets.
Sheets.
Oh, Sheets with a Z.
Yeah.
Interesting.
The bathroom better be nice.
I want that Boomer's jacket. Think I could purchase it off of them?
Blue fire, lighting up the pavement. The night is feeling young. The streets are restless. My hands.
Returning just briefly to give a bit of bad news and a bit of good news as well. The good news is Assist Plus has decided it wants to work, so we are riding along without having to touch the steering wheel. The bad news is the car has decided it no longer wants to show me my trip. The menu just has ceased to exist, and I don't entirely understand that, but no worries, because we can go into a menu, of course, on the infotainment and view it there. You just go into live vehicle, and then that will show you your trip. So 228 miles, we're averaging 43 mpg, and it even shows us our frozen pure gray 750e there on the screen, so that's cool. But I just wanted to let you all know that I no longer have to touch the steering wheel.
Yes.
So that's good. I just have to, it does track your eyes, so the way this works is as long as you're watching the road, you don't have to touch the wheel, ever. It just does it all for you, and it'll do lane changes. There's nobody around anywhere, so don't go in the comment section saying, oh yes, you're driving in the left lane. There's nobody around me. So we're gonna go ahead and simulate a lane change here. All I have to do is touch the turn signal. The car will change lanes.
On a turn, too.
It does it pretty quickly also, very aggressively. That signal again, it'll jump back over to the right. Pretty good. And all you have to do to activate this is, if you're already steering, it'll say Assist Plus ready. You let go of the steering wheel, and it automatically goes into Assist Plus. So kind of a cool way. The older cars, you had to initiate it by pressing the mode button on the steering wheel, but this car it'll do it automatically.
Shaking like I need it. I don't know why you got me sinking so low. Yeah. Girl, you
Entering West Virginia. I haven't been here since I bought my Porsche Cayman S in 2019. So, as the Topher would say, it's been a gangster minute since I've been here. West Virginia, Blue Ridge Mountains, shining through a river. Did you know West Virginia was the 35th state to be brought into the Union?
That's
It's the 35th state.
fascinating.
Also,
Okay.
did you know it is the 3rd most forested state in the U.S.?
How did you know all these fun facts?
Also, did you know it's home to the nation's oldest 5 and dime store?
Wow. Okay.
Also, did you know the state bird is the cardinal?
How do you know all these things?
I just know. Your grandma grew up here?
My grandma grew up in West
You should
Virginia.
tell her you're in her home state.
I'm gonna send her.
Yeah, send her
I just
some
took a
pictures.
video, so she'll love
We need to listen to Country Road Take Me Home
John Denver.
immediately.
Yes.
Unfortunately, we won't be able to share this all with you guys. Wow, look at that.
that. Oh my gosh, beautiful.
It's so funny how we're from Michigan, so we're just utterly bewildered by any sort of thing that isn't flat land.
right.
It's like, oh my goodness, mountains. Let's see if I have my trip menu back. I do not. The thing is, we stopped at, what was it? Sheets. And we got back into the car and everything had changed. And I suspect that's because it thinks I'm Chad. And it gave me all the Chad settings. But what doesn't make sense is why it would have gotten rid of my trip computer menu. I'm just really not too sure about that, but it's okay. We've regained ourselves 385 miles of remaining range, allegedly, and we have done 288 miles. I just want to add one last thing before we let you go for another little time-lapse break. You took a very brief nap
Very brief.
with the cooled seat on.
Yes. I just want to say that with the cooled seat and my little head pressed up against it with my pillow,
Yeah.
it was fantastic white noise because we sleep with a fan.
This is one of the most comfortable seats I've ever sat in, and I'm pretty critical about seats. We've been sitting in this now for just about 5 hours?
5 hours.
We've been sitting in this car for 5 hours, and I'm not fatigued.
No, I feel good.
And my back's been hurting outside of this trip. My back's been kind of hurting a little bit lately, and we're fine here. You can heat and cool your seat at the same time as well, which is really nice.
Get a massage.
So you can be like Shaq's icy hot, if that's your thing. I want to show you guys how Assist Plus kind of negotiates these mountain roads, and I gotta be honest, I'm pretty impressed that this system can still kind of hold itself together up here on a lot of these twisty roads. The only thing I've noticed is that coming into some of the sharper corners, it'll slow itself down to 60, 55 miles an hour. So it is good to not be in the passing lane when it negotiates some of these bigger corners. But that isn't too hard because there's not a ton of traffic going on, and if you do a full press of the turn signal on accident, it cancels Assist Plus, which I don't super love because it can be kind of jarring. So let's get out of the passing lane here as we have completed our pass. Overall, though, this system has been able to navigate a pretty good amount of these mountain roads. The only time it deactivates is if there's a section with a ton of sharp curves where it just knows that it's not going to be able to do them all itself.
My shoulders are so tense.
So you can see it slowing down a little bit here for this corner from 65 to 61. Coming out of the corner now, it'll get us back up to our set speed of 69.
Girl, you got me restless. I got to know, don't keep me waiting. Said I love in motion, let's go. I can be yours. I don't know where we'll go from here.
And then can I please do just the number one, like regular sandwich meal, medium please, with Chick-fil-A sauce and a sweet tea to drink. We're in Princeton, West Virginia. We've just ordered some Chick-fil-A. I was a little bit tardy in putting my camera on my face. Everything just happened very quickly, but we have ordered some. He was very kind. Yeah, we've ordered some food, and we're gonna see maneuverability here in the drive-thru with the 7 Series, which I already know is going to be good because we have rear-wheel steering. So that's that. Additionally, let's go ahead and check up on our MPGs. 37.8 is the average. We've done 430 miles in this car, 6 hours and 41 minutes behind the wheel. And we got 203 miles of range left. We kind of lost a bit up in the mountains because all of the up and down and, all of the different elevations and things have kind of degraded our fuel economy.
They have a playscape.
Nobody's in the little tent thing.
They have a playscape.
They do? You want to go play?
No.
Oh, here we go. Biggest turn in the whole drive-through. Light steering. Very good. If you're very nervous, you can just hit this little camera button and can see it all. Hello. It is.
There you go.
Thank you so much.
My pleasure. Here's
Yeah.
your lemonade
Beautiful.
and your sweet tea.
Thank you.
Have a nice day.
Can I have a fork, please?
Yeah, absolutely.
Thank you. All right. I am actually going to deploy these real quick to pull myself up here into this rather large spot. All right. All right, chat. BRB, we're going to eat. You know what this is, right?
North Carolina.
NASCAR country.
NASCAR. You know why they call it NASCAR?
Why?
Because that's a NASCAR.
Wilkes County, North Carolina, baby.
Where is that?
No idea.
Should
I have no idea. Yeah, you should actually see where that is in
Wilkes,
reference.
you said?
Wilkes, W-I-L-K.
I know how to spell
Okay. You can't tell we're tired, can you? 500 miles in the 7 Series. 37.5 MPG. I mean, come on. I guess, one thing I didn't fully cover, which I usually cover earlier on, is kind of like driver's compartment comfort. And as far as elbow comfort goes, these center console lid pieces, while they are somewhat squishy, they're perforated. And this is going to sound hilarious, but after resting your elbow on it for a long period of time, it starts to like sink into the perforations, and then you get this like perforated red mark. Or maybe that's just me because I have sensitive skin. But but it's like kind of irritating my arm a little bit. On the left side, pretty soft spot for the elbow, but honestly, I think they could do to make these just a little bit softer. The armrests in the middle are heated though, which is nice. And then as far as like the driver's leg compartment goes, that's a pretty wide open space, though we don't have soft surfaces if you do want to rest your legs during a long trip. So I've had my left leg rested up against this door panel, and it's just on some hard plastic right there. So, you know, you can fix this by obviously just not resting your legs, but when you're in the car for 8 hours, your legs are in all kinds of different positions.
You need to be over.
Indeed I do. The car will do that for us.
Okay.
There we go.
Probably need more.
The car will do that for us as well. Thank you.
Car.
Cheers, Chad. I've got to say though, as far as like sitting in cars for 8 hours goes, I don't know that there are many other cars I'd rather do this in.
Yeah.
The 7 Series is fantastic. It's just been a champ this whole time, and apart from when my trip computer went away, but as you can see, it's back, so that's good.
I think it just needed a rest.
It just needed a little
Just
break.
needed a little
Sometimes we all need a little bit of
We
a
just
break,
need a little nap.
you know? I am ready to stretch my legs.
This is our longest road trip together.
I know. Longest road trip on the channel. Longest road trip together. Longest video on the channel, I'm sure. This is going to be like a 40-minute video or something. If you're still watching at this point, you're probably a subscriber. We should give them a keyword to comment. What's some random word they could comment if they're still watching at this point? K-truck! That's the word. K-truck.
Comment K-check.
Or red brush.
Oh my God.
Your choice. Even in plug-in hybrid form, this B58 is so quiet, it's so silky, and it just does it. It doesn't complain. 99% of the time, you don't even know it's there until the car is initiating a pass. Otherwise, you could tell me I'm in an i7 right now, and I would believe you. We just pulled up to our hotel, and the final figure for the trip out, leg 1, 555 miles, 37.5 mpg. So, pretty dang solid. Welcome to Virginia, where we are just off of a road that I have always wanted to drive on since seeing the old Top Gear episode where they were out here with a Ferrari 458, Mercedes SLS, and a Porsche GT3 RS. That road is, of course, the Blue Ridge Parkway, and we're going to take the big girl, the 750e, out on it to see how it performs, because you can't come down here and not drive on the Blue Ridge Parkway. So let's jump in this thing, let's put it in sport mode, and let's see how she handles some corners. And then we're gonna take the long trek back home to Michigan. So let's begin. I like when you're in sport mode, everything lights up the signature BMW M colors. What I love about BMWs is they're always so versatile. I mean, this car was the most comfortable thing in the world on our almost 600-mile trip here, and then you get it out on the Blue Ridge Parkway, you can put it in sport mode, you can put your transmission into sport, use the paddle shifters, and have a pretty good time with this thing. Even though I will say the Blue Ridge Parkway is very narrow and the road surface is not very smooth.
It's like gritty.
Though I know this road is like extremely long. This is just a very small section of it. Not really a ton of steering feel on this thing, but chassis dynamics are fantastic. You can really hustle this big boat, and that was my biggest takeaway from when I went on the first drive event with the 760i, and we were out in the canyons in California, and I just couldn't believe the chassis on this new 7 Series. And this just kind of does it with grace. You don't even really hear the engine. You just hear all of our stuff moving around in the back. That's pretty much it. We also have what's called boost mode here with the down paddle, which means you hold that and floor it. Boost mode. Which is kind of just like Porsche's sport response mode. Puts you in the lowest gear possible and gives you all the power. All right, well, we're behind Peepaw now in his GT500. So this was just a major bucket list item for me. You know, I didn't want to come out here and totally shred, but I just wanted to say that I've driven on the Blue Ridge Parkway. So now I can say that. And I'm using gesture control again. Well, we're going to carry on with our last 500 or so miles, and we'll catch up with you all once we have our final thoughts on this thing after sitting in it for 2 whole days and driving it for about 1,000 miles.
Girl, you got me restless. I got to know, don't keep me waiting. Said I love it.
Wait for the road quality to get much worse. Now, okay. Well, just about 1,100 miles behind the wheel of the 750e. We're both exhausted, but not because of the car. This has been the most wonderful road trip vehicle I've ever experienced. I don't know if you agree.
Yeah, absolutely.
And genuinely, I don't think there's any other car I would have wanted to do this road trip in more. This car checks all the boxes. It's been incredibly comfortable. It's just like a big happy hippopotamus.
It is.
It's very massive, but despite it being huge, over the last 1,083.1 miles, it has averaged 35.3 mpg, which is nuts. I mean, every BMW with this B58 has been just over the moon efficient, but I gotta say, I'm surprised. On the way there, I want to say our range ended up being about 650 miles on a tank. On the way back, a little bit less, because I mean, the way back probably has more uphills, but we've done, it'll probably end up being like 550 miles. A couple little annoyances here and there. We got those out of the way early in the video, but as far as just sitting in this car, eating up miles, and being comfortable, it's done the job perfectly, and there's nothing that I would really change about this experience. So this was the perfect car. Thank you to BMW for throwing us the keys and letting us put 1,100 miles on this thing. It's been an absolute treat. Emily has decided that the end of our road trip should take place at Whole Foods. And while she does the shopping in there, you guys are going to ride along with me over to the petrol station, because we only have 13 miles of range left and the car is very upset with me. But I thought while we did that, I would give you guys my final thoughts on this 750e and just kind of give you my honest opinion on this car and if I think it's a good buy. I think this car gets a lot of slack because of the way that it looks. And I understand that. You know, not everybody wants to make the statement that this car makes, and that's okay. Maybe you want to have yourself an Audi A7 or A8 or a Mercedes S-Class or a Genesis G90, and I would understand that. But what BMW has created here is a literal palace on wheels. This car did basically everything for me. I mean, this was such a low-stress road trip that, I mean, I feel like I could go for another 6 hours in this car, and I've already been driving for 9 hours today. So what I'm trying to say is this car makes it so easy. And if you're somebody that likes to go on long trips, somebody that likes to eat up the miles, the 7 Series in any form is a good choice for you. But what about in 750e form? Well, I think this car makes a lot of sense, because not everybody's going to want that 760i with the S68 twin-turbo V8. And even less people are going to want the i7, because a lot of people aren't ready to go full electric yet. So then you're left here with Chad, or the 740i, of course, which slots in below this. But the 750e is just, it's such a sweet spot, because plug-in hybrids are kind of the wave right now. And I think plug-in hybrids just really make a lot of sense. And this one especially, because it features a B58, which is just such a sweetheart of an engine. So with all that being said, our epic 1,100 mile road trip, our longest road trip yet in the BMW 750e, comes to a close. Comment down below if there's anything else you'd like to see in these road trip videos. We have a ton of fun making them and would love to incorporate any other suggestions that you may have. But that's going to wrap it up for us today. Thank you guys all so much for watching.
We will see you in the next one.
Take care.